Welcome back to our channel, everyone. I have to be honest, the moment I saw the subtle shifts in the dynamic between Drew Kane and Willow Kane, I knew something was fundamentally wrong, but I wasn't ready for that. The sheer realization that Drew might actually be recovering faster than anyone realizes is hitting me like a freight train. We have been watching him lay there, seemingly paralyzed, completely at the mercy of the people around him. But what if the paralysis isn't a natural medical state anymore? What if the only reason he was immobilized was because of a drug that mimics paralysis, and now that it's wearing off, his body is waking up? My jaw literally dropped when I started putting these pieces together. The implications are absolutely terrifying. I am sitting here screaming at my screen because the level of psychological warfare happening right in front of us is off the charts. I genuinely wasn't expecting that kind of dark twist for these characters. I keep thinking about how far we have come with Willow. This is the woman we watched evolve, the one who fought so hard for her family, the one Tracy Quartermain recently dared to compare to Nell Benson. And you know what? Tracy was right. That is exactly why this storyline hits so incredibly hard. We are watching the complete and utter destruction of Willow's moral compass. She isn't just protecting a secret. She has basically turned Drew into a prisoner in his own hospital bed. By manipulating his medical treatment, by allegedly using drugs to keep him silent, she crossed a line that I never thought she would cross. The terror for Willow isn't just that Drew might physically recover. Her absolute worst nightmare is that Drew remembers everything. Every time she stood over his bed, every time she adjusted his IV, every time she played God with his life. The audience has witnessed her slow descent into darkness, and the shattered expectations of who Willow is supposed to be are making my heart pound out of my chest. I love this storyline because the suspense is absolutely killing me, but something still bothers me so much about it. I am utterly fascinated by Willow's pivot from medical manipulation to outright extortion. Realizing that Drew's silence cannot be chemically guaranteed forever, she is now weaponizing his past. Seeing her enlist Nina Reeves and Jack Brennan to dig up Drew's darkest secrets to create a blackmail file is brilliant television. It is the classic mutually assured destruction scenario. If Drew talks, Willow pushes the button and Brennan leaks Drew's crimes. But the frustration? Oh, the frustration is real. I cannot stand watching Nina blindly march into this trap. Nina thinks she is just being a fiercely protective mother helping her daughter out of a jam. But the deeper Nina digs, the closer she gets to realizing that Willow is no longer the victim here. Willow is the mastermind. If Nina helps her destroy evidence or cover up the poisoning, Nina becomes an accomplice to attempted murder. It drives me crazy seeing Nina risk her own freedom for a daughter who is spiraling completely out of control. I have to admit, I am judging every single move these characters are making right now. I understand why Willow feels cornered. She is terrified of losing her life, her family, and her freedom. But I still think that poisoning a man and holding him hostage in a hospital bed is an unforgivable mistake. You don't get to play the victim when you are holding the syringe. On the flip side, let's talk about Drew. I understand why he has to play along. If you ask me, Drew's decision to fake his continued compliance is the smartest thing he has ever done. He is physically weak. If he confronts Willow now, she could easily panic and administer a fatal dose, making it look like a tragic medical complication. Drew pretending to be this terrified, obedient prisoner who accepts the blackmail terms is a masterclass in survival. He is letting Willow believe she has won. He is lulling her into a false sense of security, and I am absolutely here for it. This brings me to the epic counterattack that I am praying happens. Part of me wants to believe that Drew can handle this on his own, but another part of me knows he needs heavy hitters. Enter Jason Morgan and Elizabeth Baldwin. Guys, the moment I realized Drew would likely turn to Jason, I got chills. Jason is the one person in Port Charles who cannot be manipulated, and more importantly, he is the only one who can go toe-to-toe with Jack Brennan. Drew confessing everything to Jason, the poisoning, the blackmail, the total loss of control, would be a monumental scene. Jason wouldn't just sit there. He would actively hunt down the blackmail files Brennan is holding. Can you imagine Jason turning the tables on Brennan? Brennan thinks he is the ultimate WSB predator, but Jason could easily make him the prey. Jason could expose Brennan's illegal use of WSB resources to blackmail a citizen, effectively neutralizing Willow's entire leverage. I can't help feeling that Liz is the absolute perfect person to blow the lid off the medical side of this conspiracy. Liz is an exceptional nurse. We already know from recent events that Elizabeth has her suspicions about the bizarre connections happening around the hospital, especially regarding Brennan and Drew. If Drew secretly enlists Liz, she would be the one to quietly audit his medical charts. She would find the discrepancies, the altered medication logs, the missing vials of paralytics. Liz finding the forensic medical trail that proves Willow was poisoning Drew would be poetic justice. I even have this wild vision of Drew and Liz setting up a hidden camera or a voice recorder in his hospital room. Imagine Drew baiting Willow into confessing her crimes on tape while she thinks he is still too weak to fight back. Every threat she whispers, every time she admits to altering his meds, all captured as undeniable proof. I honestly can't decide which moment I am anticipating more. Jason confronting Brennan or Drew finally dropping the act with Willow. Picture the climax. Willow walks into the hospital room, fully believing she holds all the cards. She thinks her blackmail file is secure. She thinks Drew is broken. And then Drew just throws off the blankets and stands up. He looks her dead in the eye and reveals that the silence agreement was nothing but a trap to buy him time. He reveals that Jason has already destroyed Brennan's leverage and that Liz has documented every single medical crime she committed. The look of absolute horror on Willow's face when she realizes she has been outplayed would be television gold. It wouldn't just be a victory, it would be a complete dismantling of the monster Willow has become. This is shaping up to be an all-out war between two incredibly flawed sides. On one side, you have Team Drew, backed by Jason and Liz, operating in the shadows to gather evidence and dismantle a conspiracy. On the other side, you have Team Willow, backed by Nina and Brennan, desperately trying to maintain control through extortion and cover-ups. It is so compelling because nobody here is a saint. Drew has a past filled with massive mistakes and dark secrets. Willow has let her fear turn her into a ruthless manipulator. When both sides are holding secrets that could completely obliterate the other, it ceases to be a battle of good versus evil. It becomes a high-stakes game of survival. Who is going to land the fatal blow first? Part of me wants to believe that Willow can somehow walk back from the ledge, that she will realize the sheer magnitude of her crimes before it's too late. Another part of me thinks she has already crossed the point of no return. You don't just accidentally, systematically drug a man to keep him paralyzed. That takes cold, calculated malice. I honestly can't decide if I want her to go to prison or if I want the show to find some bizarre way to redeem her, but right now, I am leaning heavily toward wanting to see her face the music. It makes me question everything we thought we knew about her character. Was this darkness always inside her, just waiting for the right moment to surface? Or did the trauma and fear finally break her mind? And let's not forget the massive fallout that is going to hit Nina and Brennan. If Brennan really is using his WSB connections for this petty blackmail scheme, the blowback will be astronomical. He is playing a very dangerous game by getting involved in Willow's messy vendetta. And Nina, poor misguided Nina, when the truth comes out, when she hears the recordings of Willow threatening a paralyzed man, how is she going to process that? Will she still blindly defend her daughter, or will the reality of Willow's actions finally shatter her delusion? I keep thinking about how tragic it is that Nina's desperate need to be a mother might be the exact thing that drags her down as an accessory to a major crime. The tension right now is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every time Willow is on screen, I find myself holding my breath. I am watching her eyes, trying to see if she suspects that Drew is faking. I am watching Drew's subtle micro expressions, looking for that hint of defiance beneath the fear. It is a brilliant cat and mouse game, and the fact that it is happening entirely within the confines of a hospital room makes it feel so incredibly claustrophobic and intense. The stakes have literally never been higher for these characters, and the psychological warfare is just mesmerizing to watch. I also have to highlight how perfectly Jason fits into this narrative. We have been waiting to see how Jason would integrate back into the heavy drama, and this is the perfect avenue. Jason doesn't ask questions. He just gets the job done. If Drew tells him that Brennan is holding a blackmail file, Jason won't hesitate to dismantle Brennan's operation piece by piece. It adds this incredible layer of action and espionage to what is fundamentally a medical thriller storyline. The contrast between Liz fighting the battle in the medical charts and Jason fighting the battle in the shadows is just phenomenal writing. It utilizes the history and strengths of these veteran characters flawlessly. We are hurtling toward a confrontation that is going to shake Port Charles to its absolute core. When the dust settles, relationships are going to be permanently destroyed. The Quartermains, the Corinthos family, the hospital staff, everyone is going to be forced to take a side. If you ask me, this is the kind of storytelling that made us fall in love with General Hospital in the first place. High stakes, deeply personal conflicts, and characters pushing themselves to the absolute limit. I am on the edge of my seat every single day, waiting for that one slip up, that one moment where the facade cracks and the truth comes pouring out in a spectacular explosion of drama. Am I the only one feeling this way? Am I reading too much into Drew's recovery? Or do you guys see it too? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like the explosion is coming sooner rather than later. Guys, what do you think? Is Willow completely beyond redemption at this point? Do you think Drew has what it takes to pull off this massive deception, or will Willow catch on before Jason and Liz can get the evidence? Maybe I'm wrong, but I genuinely feel like we are about to witness one of the most epic takedowns in the show's history. Let me know your thoughts, because I need to know I'm not the only one losing my mind over this.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.